Oh, is this an intro?
Yeah, it's actually not the official intro. This is an intro for another podcast that I use. So the goats, don't be mad at me. I'm gonna change it later on, but this is how their podcast usually starts.
Okay, I hear Messi in the back there.
Yeah,
Some goats.
Not Messi, Leo.
Leo Messi.
All right. So welcome everybody. This is the MiFi Creator Cast. We're back again with another episode. We have a new creator in the facility. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I go by Rico Padilla from GR.
Okay. Are you born and raised here, or where are you from?
Yep, I grew up in Grand Rapids. Been here all my life, honestly. Moved around a little bit. Grew up off Division. Moved to Wyoming Public Schools, and then about 7th, 8th grade, I moved over to Northview Public Schools. Played college soccer at Aquinas College, and still kicking it here. Moved around a little bit, but came back.
Okay, that's what's up, man. You said that very eloquently.
Yeah, I mean, it's come out before, it's you get a question of where you've been in your life, and you're like, okay, yeah, I've had a little bit of a journey, but that's the short cap.
That's good. I mean, we all had a journey, man, and I mean, the journey is definitely what influences the person that you are today. In earlier, we were just talking a little bit earlier, and I didn't want to get the conversation to get too deep because I wanted to save it for this.
Yeah.
So you've been creative. How long have you been creative, or when did you start taking your creativity seriously?
Man, it's tough to say because I feel like we're all creators, right? Like, I grew up a soccer player, and I took that craft very seriously, and I always wanted to train and do it to the best of my ability. I did always love movies, and that was movies, shows. That was probably a big part of what I relied on, I guess, just in my free time, and when I was training, I could do that kind of in my spare time, and it was a nice balance. Crazy to say, but I had a few out of town girlfriends or long distance relationships, and so I kind of relied on movies a lot.
I get the movie dates. So yeah, I feel you. I've been there.
So yeah, I guess that, as well as I've always been a doodler, I guess. I've always been able to come up with weird ideas. I like curating events and coming up with different ways of creating an environment for people to have fun. Just real quick, man, I want to give you a shout out because this is super dope.
Thank you.
I love coming to spaces where I feel inspired and people are making me feel inspired, and you're doing that here, man. I've just met you. I've never been here. I've never even heard of this place. But there's some magic going on here. That's
what's up.
So
that's
apparent.
good. I mean, this is just we didn't give you the full tour yet, man. This is just we just did one room.
This doesn't happen in Grand Rapids, man.
That's what's up, man. Cool. No, I take that. That means a lot to me. That actually makes me emotional in a way because I am the creative director for GR-MiFi, and I take the space very seriously. The way that it's arranged, I rearrange this room 20 different times just to make sure it feels right. It feels homey. Each room in this place, even though we're a nonprofit, we don't have a lot of money. I'm working with what we got. I try to make every room in itself feel warm, inviting, and also to generate ideas and being creative in general is can be, even though at first when you're a kid it's innate, right? But it becomes scary. So I wanted to cultivate a place where people are not afraid to share their ideas, and I'm so glad that you're here today, and you're here with a couple other people. We didn't actually introduce them earlier. They're second or third time here. Can you guys voice your names?
My name is Omar Arredondo. I'm so happy to be here. Last time I was here, I was super inspired, and I think I told Miguel and I told Rico, and I was talking with Kenny afterwards, and it's man, that was super dope. The conversations we had were great. Just being here in this space was great, and happy to be back.
Yeah, and happy to have you back. And
Yeah, I'm Miguel Hernandez. And yeah, same thing that Omar said last time that I was here. It just what Rico said, like it's weird, it's hard to find places like this in Grand Rapids, places like are warm, like where you feel comfortable and just being excited and just sharing your ideas, sharing what motivates you. It feels cool. It's like it feels like that place that you've been waiting or your whole life. Oh, I'm gonna be interviewed and I'm gonna tell my story, and it feels so cool. And thank you, man. Thank you for having these places. But yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys once again for coming in. And I'm very terrible with names, so once again, can you tell me your name?
Yeah, Rico.
Rico.
Rico Padilla says these dudes, they did it with a nice Mexican accent.
I know, right?
Let's go.
They kind of called me out. I said Padilla, but yeah, my real name is Enrique Padilla. But
Okay.
yeah, I go by Rico.
Rico.
Yeah,
I
my
get
dad's
it.
name is also Enrique, so
Okay. Yeah,
it works out.
I whitenize my name, so my name is
Yeah.
David instead of Dave or David. So it's David Benoit.
Oh,
Yeah, French name.
that's
Yeah.
an artist name
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. So my parents are from Haiti, so I'm first American generation, Haitian American. So
I was gonna ask you what your heritage was.
yeah. So, yeah, I get the immigrant family struggle. So I feel like
yeah, it's funny. Like just saying your name to people is like something you have to think about. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
no,
it's just the beginning of your experience in another country or like involved in a different environment. That I don't know. It's wearing two different hats at all times.
yeah, literally
It's funny.
at all times. Are you fluent in Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are definitely like Omar and Miguel lived in Mexico. I've never lived in Mexico.
Have you visited?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Mexico maybe 15 times. I have a lot of family in Guadalajara, Mexico. So Miguel's my cousin. My dad is his mom's brother.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, we got a lot of family over there, and I really want to live in Mexico, but yeah, I speak a good amount of Spanish. You know, like I would say I'm fluent, but these guys, you know, they're like 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
fluent. Like, they're like Mexican.
Yeah, they. No, I get that, man. Because like I've been born here too, and I've been back home many a times. And I would love to live in Haiti if I could. Especially, things are not great right now, but when things calm down again, I would love to just live there. There's nothing like being back home. Really,
Yeah, even if it's like a month or something, like it's nice to like touch your roots a little bit, or compare yourself to like your like blood cousins. It's like, damn.
I was gonna ask. I feel like I should know this, but what is the official language of Haiti?
So it's Creole.
Creole. Okay.
Yes.
Is this connected with Dominican Republic?
Yes.
Yes.
So they share the same island.
Yeah.
And so Haitians were technically there first, and then because French colonized that island first, and then the Spanish conquistadors, whatever you want to call them, they came in second. Yeah, and just
Motherfuckers.
yeah, they took half the island. Hey, can you do me a favor and close that door? This door's closed already. It's closed already? Damn, they loud as hell. Can you, I don't know if I can hear it in there. I hope not.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah.
Creole is like a form of French, yeah.
Yeah. It's a Creole. So Creole is it's a combination of three kind of languages. So there was the native people who lived there at the time, which I believe are called I know this. I don't know why I can't remember my name, but there were some native people who lived there, and then it's like a combination of like two African languages with French. And so even though it's mostly French, there's like three or four different like subsets of Creole, which are, depending where you live in Haiti, sometimes they can't really understand each other that much. And that is actually for a reason. Historically, when Creole was invented, it was devised to be a secret language, so like the French military and everybody couldn't like spy on them. They couldn't figure out their plans because they were always changing the language up, and they were teaching each other different dialects just to keep things on their toes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Sheesh, man.
But yeah, history aside, one question I actually was going to think about earlier was that Did you feel like your creativity changed or was influenced when you started to go back home to Mexico? Because I feel like when I went to Haiti, it changed me creatively.
That's a good question. It's weird because going back to Mexico, you realize like how much of a privilege it is to make art. It's like,
Oh yeah,
it's not a thing that, like,
not-
if I told them how much money I've spent on art, or like how much time I spend, just creating something, or I forget I was talking with someone and I was like, to have this amount of time to think about this idea and like have this amount of safety in your life that you can think about creative ideas is like it's a privileged thing.
most definitely.
So it's cool to fight with those things though, because it's like, that's life. You're gonna have different opportunities than others. You're gonna have to take advantage of these opportunities. You don't have to, whatever, but like, you don't have to feel bad about it either.
Right.
You can you could do a lot with that power to make these pieces that you want to make. And like you're doing, we're in Grand Rapids, we want to make good change. We think about life intentionally. We're supporting our friends. We're doing all these things to better our environment, or better it for other people. We're noticing things, we're being sensitive to our environment and trying to make changes to our environment. And I think we all have the power to do that. And art is like a huge thing we can do to change those things. So yeah, I think all in all, yeah, like Mexico, I think inspires me, and it gives me like a different sense of what life could be like, what they rely on, what their culture is like. Maybe it's food, maybe it's whatever. And like, I consider cultivating of like events art, making an event is artistic. And so if you're going to bring food, like I had people over at my house for like a vinyl night.
Nice.
And I had some quesadillas, and then I brought out a bunch of
invite.
like, hey, we'll get you in. We'll get you in.
I'll bring some. I gotta bring some records.
You have to come, bro.
We got the next date already, so you gotta come.
Okay.
That's true. It's at Omar's
Yeah.
place.
Hey, I
Let's
love it.
go.
But yeah, like New Mexico relies on food a lot, and you kind of take note from that, and you're like, okay, there's something special here, like whether it's dancing or the way they kiss each other on cheek, or like when you enter a room, everyone says hi to each other. We've been talking about compadres. That's has been a topic as of late. So in Haitian culture, but in religious, like Mexican culture, there's something called compadres and comadres, like godmothers and godfathers.
Okay.
So when, say, I baptize your kid and I'm the godfather, like we are now compadres. And I always grew up with like my parents having compadres around and comadres that they relied on, that they always like grab dinner with, after school or after church or whatever, and it was like something they could really rely on. And I don't know, I just like I copy and pasted that, like I told Omar, like you're my compadre.
Yeah.
And like we don't have no kid that we're baptizing, He has a dog, but like,
that was like the official was he baptized my dog. He
That's
gave
hilarious.
Her little tag.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the one. Compadres from now on.
Padres.
It's like chosen family.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of copy and pasting that happens from like going different places, and like that's that balance too. Like, how do you pronounce your name? How do you take what of, like, if I'm Mexican and I'm coming to the United States to live here, I'm also going to be American. So how much of that do I take? What can I pick from all these cultures that I've been exposed to, all these people that I've been exposed to make it work in my life? So it's, there's always going to be freaking change when you go to whatever. How about for you, man?
Well, I just say that for me, I will relate to that piece in the sense that art is a privilege. And definitely one of those things of just realizing that when I went to Haiti, art is probably one of the only true pieces of commerce that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Not, Because so for instance, let me just kind of paint a picture. You know, when sometimes I'm assuming in Mexico, when you go around the street, you know, you got all the merchants on the side. You got some people selling food. You got some people selling random stuff. You know what I mean? Same thing in Haiti. A lot of the majority of like physical pieces of items, like little toys and little figurines and statues, like majority of those things in Haiti are now made by a factory. And the factories
from China.
Yeah,
type shit,
and it's also from China too. And so like the people who are like painting and the people like those are the only people who are actually like making their own shit.
Yeah.
And
it's really hard in a you know, a third world country.
And
would you consider Haiti a third world country?
oh, most definitely. It's. I mean, I forgot what when I learned this fact, but it was years ago. I mean, Haiti's like the second or third poorest country in the world.
Yeah, 'cause even the DR is like not great, and like people are itching and scratching to like make it over that way.
Yeah, I know. Like I have family in both sides, and it's crazy to think and kind of thinking about like there's all these amazing artists when I went down to Haiti, who are just selling these amazing pieces for like dirt cheap. You know what I mean? And it's and also too, there's like that's just something that made me think of just in the sense that like okay, like having my art have more value, just it just happened to be in another state. Like one of the things that I wanted to do when I get older was just to take art that was from Haiti, sell it for tons of money, and then bring it back to the people and giving them the money that they deserve in a way.
I'm laughing because Omar and I had a very similar idea.
Yeah, you did? That's
It's
cool.
a little bit of a remix on it, but
Yeah,
we'll have to chat later before we get it out.
Definitely. I love to hear about it. But that's just one of the things that I kind of inspired me, something that I want to do, just to kind of give back to the people from my hometown, my home country. But another thing is that one of the things that like I didn't understand how powerful it was to be Haitian and what that really meant. And just seeing how people who live in such conditions, because I mean there's good parts of Haiti, there's bad parts, you got the rich and the poor, but it's just to see that how the poorest of the poor people still continues to like how they live their lives, how happy they still are, you know, how strong their communities are, and like just whole mindset type of thing. You know, it's like
They rely on different stuff. Like for us as Americans, what we need is like way too much. You know, like the amount of money that we spend, and we're all guilty of it. You know, like me included. Like we just buy bullshit, or we're going out to dinner, or we're buying a new pair of Jordans, or you know, bullshit. You know, but yeah, there's always good reminders going back to
it's more simpler, the things that they need, and you know, kind of just
community,
music, right, and love, all of those. It's just
exactly.
the simplest different things, and it just kind of reels you back, you know, and 100%. Just makes you just appreciate things more in life.
And one thing that I think me and Miguel were talking about when we were there that I really appreciated seeing, it's like when you're in a park or somewhere, you see people that are just sitting. Like you see the benches and people are there just sitting, like just eating an ice cream. And they can be there for 2-3 hours in Mexico, just like sitting that same bench. And you come back to the U.S. and people here just moving, going and going. Like you don't really see people just like being present, like having the time to just sit.
There has to be something going on.
Yeah, there has to be
they need
something.
like
some kind of stimulation.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
Yeah, they're either on their phone or they need some show or something going on. Like, and yeah, that's definitely like probably the second thing that like it just always, and that's why I always like I feel like I need to go back because it just kind of brings me back to my center.
Yeah.
100%.
And I just wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit, and so. You know, you talked about being a doodler, and you kind of mentioned before we started recording that you paint, and you're kind of discovering who you are self as an artist. And you'd also mentioned a little bit about how you like to plan events. Now, working with like your cousin and how have you combined your creativity? Like, how have you been able to add to what he's been doing with his film, or I don't know if you've worked with Ave Films in general. What have you been able to? How have you been able to express your creativity through their work?
Yeah, it's been busy for me, honestly. Like, I've been doing quite a bit of stuff, just on my own. So I'll begin with like my friend group. We have a great friend group that kind of just happened organically. Kind of began with like our soccer team. Like, I have a game tonight,
Nice.
and it's a co-ed team called Vino Fino. Shout out Vino Fino. Agent like fine wine, you know.
I love that. I was gonna hit you with one of these.
Hit him.
DJ Khaled horn.
Yeah.
So yeah, that friend group has been great, man. And like, not that I was, the forming member of it, but there's been a lot of cool connections that have happened. And like that vinyl night that I mentioned, there's been so many things that we could do with that. And that's just one example. But cultivating events, sharing places. Like last night I had a movie night, and even like the democratic voting system that we put in place, it was like, this could be something in the future, so you kind of like practice with your friends and like what hits and what doesn't. Like having like a hot sauce set up for the quesadillas. It's like, oh yeah, hot sauce has hit. Like this could hit in the future for whatever idea I might have in the future. And then, yeah, with Miguel's film, that's another one. Just being able to like script write with him, have a lot of conversations about the intention of the film, and kind of it's loosely based off of his life, coming to the United States and making that transition. So like having conversations that like made him reflect on himself and what he wanted the message to be. Because in the end, like it's not my movie, like I'm trying to pump it out of him to give it out to the world and like story tell, and like you're doing, like you're storytelling in the way that you're structuring how this interview is going to be gone, like you're going to ask certain questions. And I've been doing quite a bit of that. And then with Aves, it's been dope. Like Omar's given me the opportunity to work with him for a few different projects now, doing interviews like on camera, off of camera.
Are you scripting the questions yourself, or?
Yeah,
or you do kind of more like just offer it
from interviewer to interviewer. So yeah, I usually have like a structured amount of questions, and like I try to know a little bit about who they are or what the intention is, what the goal of the interview is. But yeah, I'll have like a structure of them that I can rely back on, but I try to wing it. I try to like see where the conversations go and keep it natural. But then when I need a question, I'll just pull out, here's, because if it gets awkward and you like can't come up with a question, it's like,
yeah,
what the hell?
It's hard to pivot from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have like a safety at least. You're like not freaking out because you're always gonna have something. But yeah, with Aves, it's been super dope. We're working for East Kentwood Public Schools right now, or Kentwood Public Schools. Doing some work for them, a little like promotional video that they're going to be using for the next like 3 to 5 years or something.
Nice.
And really trying to push what's going on over there. I think Kentwood is doing some really cool things. So being able to tell those stories and honestly, like working with Aves Films and like with Omar, he has like a very different way of being a business owner. I've never seen a business ran like this, and like with his group of friends and like the community he can build with like a business. It's like it's almost like a fight against how corporate Grand Rapids is, and it's been really like revitalizing for I think all of us, and like having opportunities and like the structure through what he's doing in Grand Rapids is super dope. So yeah, there's been a few avenues that I can express myself through, and that's like apart from my painting and apart from like a few other things that I do just on my own time. That's
what's up, man. I love to hear, and I love the context that you have given about Ave Films. And I've built my own film company, and I would say, Ave, you are where I am, where I wanted to be, because I think we probably started around the same time, right? When did you start, Ave?
It was 2 years ago. So
yeah.
2022. early 2022.
Yeah, so 2022. So I started around like 21, and you're pretty much where I wanted to be. I wanted to kind of like employ my friends and then like get everybody going. But then life just took a different direction. I'm just here where I am now. And
You're not just here, bro. You're doing some dope shit.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not trying to downplay it at all. Like I love what I do. I feel super blessed to do what I do. And I know like I'm still building my company. I still have. I'm just blessed to be able to do this part time, and do the other stuff. But it's amazing to hear that what you're able to do with Ave and allow your friends to have creative opportunities, because everyone deserves to have. We're lucky to live where we live, where if you're not expressing your creativity in some type of way, and also in the betterment of your community, it's like, what are you really doing with your day?
Yeah,
that's how I feel. Because I've always been a community person. I've always liked to collaborate with other people.
Yeah.
And just like as a ADHD person who suffers from perfectionism, I don't really feel like my projects are perfect unless I like work with other people. Like,
Yeah.
if I made something by myself, I still like look at it. I'm like, ugh.
You never know. Like
Yeah.
what it really is.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no
like,
feedback.
I'm just
There's
like,
no
ugh,
feedback
like
loop.
I just whatever. But like if it's been through the ringer, I have people look through it. We figured it out. They had me change. I'm like, all right. And then I'm like, all right, this is fire.
This works. Yeah, somehow like bringing everyone together, all the community makes it like they say the single person or the single man genius doesn't exist. Like actually the real genius is when all the community comes together, and that's
Right.
how can you find your real genius. And I really agree, man, like with all what you're saying, that art is a privilege, and what you're saying, Rico, too. But I think if it's good to have that mindset, but as well, like, okay, be aware that you privilege, and now think about the way that you can be as less selfish as possible, and try to bring as much community together where you're not by yourself, and this art is shared with other people who needs it as well, and ways that you can motivate other people too. But yeah, I just wanted to add that I'm really intrigued by the conversation. It just seems like I'm listening to it, but I wanted to add somewhere there. Yeah.
No, of course. No, I appreciate it. So hopefully this dance class is going on in the background is not destroying this audio. So I'm going to keep it.
Hey, we have Adobe podcast, so you
Right.
can just get rid of it now.
True, right? Adobe podcast. Did we talk about that before?
No.
Oh, that's like a trick. That's a trick that I use.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, right? Oh my god.
It's like magic.
Dude, it saved me for a couple of jobs I had that like went south on audio, and it just saved my life. Like, it's so funny. I'm so glad that someone said that. Well, it was great meeting you. Say your one more time, because I'm just terrible.
Rico.
Rico.
Padilla. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
They're gonna put me on the spot. Yeah. All right, say it one more time.
Padilla.
Rico Padilla.
Hey, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
Okay.
Got you on 4K right here.
I know, right?
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It was a
man.
pleasure having you. We're excited to learn more about your work and see more from Ave Films. Lastly, if you guys are listening to the podcast for the first time, please review us. You know that's what helps the podcast. So review us, share with your friends. If you want any creative people that you know to be on the podcast, or send them a link. Tell them to come down to GR-MiFi and check us out. Peace.
Peace.